The number of civilians killed in Gaza has passed the number of civilians killed in Israel as a result of the Hamas terror attacks and will only grow as Israel continues its bombardment. While Israel is currently exercising its legitimate right to defend itself, could there be a point at which its actions go beyond this right?
Interesting question. I'm going to start with you, Alexander Downer, as a former foreign minister. In fact, I think the longest serving.
Well, I think the short answer is that in the wake of what Hamas did in executing entirely innocent civilians the weekend before last, and hundreds of them, and this was the worst attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust, Israel understandably wants to destroy Hamas, and they will destroy Hamas. And they will get a lot of support from around the world to do that. There is, in the end, no negotiation with an for the Israelis with an organisation like Hamas, which wants to destroy the Jewish people and wants to destroy the state of Israel. You're not talking about a political movement which is anything short of inhumane and fascist in its approach. There's no negotiation if they're not prepared to accept Israel's right to exist and accept the Jewish people's right to live. So you can understand that they're going to destroy Hamas, and they've created some safe corridors. They've encouraged people to move. Whether they do or not is another question, because Hamas is, of course, resisting all of that. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be tidy. But Hamas has to be destroyed. OK, so going to the direct question that was asked by Darcy around whether there's a line, essentially, where a line is crossed, do you think there is no line? Well, Israel as a liberal democracy will apply the rules of war, international law, in the way they respond, and they obviously will do their best to avoid civilian casualties. They won't do their best to avoid Hamas casualties, but they'll do their best to... Isn't the issue, though, in such a small area, it's hard to avoid civilian casualties, Patrick? Well,
Darcy, I think what we're seeing, I mean, you're concerned for civilian lives. I don't think there's anyone in this room who wouldn't be concerned about the loss of civilian lives, which is coming about because we have seen a terrorist attack that has shocked us all. We've seen Israel wasn't expecting this to happen. None of us were. It is just it is heartbreaking. I think anyone who's picking up the news day on day is reading more and more tragedy, but also knowing that, rightly so, you can't allow a terrorist attack like that to go unresponded. And that's why, when it comes to Israel's right to defend itself and rightly so, go and deal as they see fit with this terrorist organisation, Hamas, it is a really difficult time. I think. But should they show restraint? That's the big question, and that's the word that there's. Well, and Foreign Minister Penny Wong has said exactly that we urge, though, while recognising Israel's right and need to defend itself, to use restraint as they seek to do what is understandably, in their view, absolutely necessary, but also to recognise that, this is Israel is seeking to defend itself from Hamas, and that is not, obviously no one wants to see unnecessary civilian lives lost in this. No one wants to, but we need to also talk about where those lines are crossed. Well, I want to bring you in, Dee. I just want to bring in Dee if I can first, but I will bring you back in, Alexander. Just on today, I think Peter Dutton said Israel should show no restraint in its retaliation.
Well, see, so what Israel has said is, we're giving people a chance to evacuate, but what the people there are saying, we can't evacuate safely. And when you've got a blockade where you're cutting off gas and water and that, the people who are going to suffer are innocent people. They're children, they're old people, they're sick people. I can understand the anger from Israel. I do think there's a line. I think they're crossing it.
James McGrath.
We've got to stand with Israel. This is a free, liberal democracy that since its formation in 1948 has been under constant threat from terrorist organisations and dictatorships in the Middle East who want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. We are a liberal democracy. We should stand with liberal democracies. If Israel gives in to Hamas, it sends a green light to Hezbollah, it sends a green light to Syria, it sends a green light to to Iran, and that is why Israel must take a stand. What happened the weekend before last was the greatest massacre, the greatest murder of Jewish people since the Holocaust.